Welcome back to part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, pause this video and go watch it now, or you won't believe what is about to happen. Quick recap: my family laughed at me when my grandmother left me a useless patch of rocky forest called the Brambles while they inherited millions in cash and mansions. They called me the dirt farmer. But in part 1, I opened the safe in the garden shed and found a geological report from 1995 proving that my dirt is sitting on top of a $40 million lithium deposit. I was sitting on a gold mine. But this is where the nightmare begins. I tried to keep it quiet. I really did. I contacted a mining attorney and a surveyor under strict confidentiality. But I made one fatal mistake. I was so excited that I posted a vague photo of the view from the Brambles on Instagram with the caption, "Grandma knew the value of the earth. Big things coming." My cousin Brad, who had just blown half his inheritance on a sports car, saw it. He got suspicious. He drove out to the property to mock me, but instead of finding me camping, he saw a survey team from a major lithium tech company. He saw the markers. He did some digging online, and he put 2 and 2 together. The next morning, I woke up to my phone vibrating off the nightstand. It was Aunt Karen. I answered, and she didn't even say hello. She screamed so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. "You deceitful little snake. You knew. You stole our inheritance." They found out. And they went nuclear immediately. Within 48 hours, I was served with legal papers. They weren't just asking for a share, they were suing for the entire property. The lawsuit claimed undue influence and lack of testamentary capacity. Let me explain what that means. They were arguing that my grandmother, the sharpest, most intelligent woman I ever knew, was senile and mentally incompetent when she wrote the will. They claimed I had manipulated her in her confused state to give me the most valuable asset, hiding its true worth from the rest of the family. It was a lie. A disgusting, greedy lie. They were dragging her name through the mud just to get a payout. My lawyer, David, told me to brace myself. "This is going to get ugly, Maya," he said. "They are going to try to break you financially and emotionally before we even get to a courtroom." He was right. The harassment started instantly. My mom's phone didn't stop ringing. Family friends I hadn't seen in years were calling me, telling me I was greedy and that I should share the blessing with the family. Brad was texting me threats, saying I was going to jail for fraud. My mom begged me to meet with them. She hates conflict. She said, "Maya, just hear them out. Maybe we can settle this." Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet Karen and Brad at a coffee shop. David came with me. When we walked in, Karen looked like a grieving widow. She had no makeup on, trying to look sympathetic. She reached for my hand. "Maya," she sobbed. "We're family. Margaret wanted us to take care of each other. If you keep this all to yourself, you're spitting on her grave. We're struggling too, you know. The taxes on the mansion are enormous." I almost laughed. They inherited $8 million 3 months ago, and they were already crying poor? Then Brad lost his temper. He slammed his hand on the table. "Cut the act, Mom," he shouted. He looked at me with pure hatred. "You tricked her. You knew about the lithium. You planted those reports. We're going to bury you in court, Maya. You won't see a dime." My lawyer, David, is a calm man. But he has eyes like a shark. He pulled a document out of his briefcase. It was the original survey from 1995. "Margaret commissioned this survey 30 years ago," David said quietly. "She sat on it. She specifically carved this land out for Maya. If she wanted you to have it, Karen, she would have given it to you. The intent is clear." Karen's face changed. The sadness vanished, replaced by pure rage. She stood up and swept her coffee cup off the table. It shattered on the floor. "This isn't over," she shrieked. "I will ruin you." They stormed out. I went home shaking. I thought that was the peak of the drama. I was wrong. I decided to go back to the garden shed at the brambles. I felt like there was something I missed. Grandma was meticulous. She wouldn't have left me in this position without a weapon. I was digging through an old toolbox in the shed when I noticed the false bottom. I pried it up with a screwdriver. Taped to the underside was a thick envelope. On the front, in Grandma's shaky handwriting, it read, "To be read only if Karen challenges the will." I got literal chills. I opened it. It was a letter from Margaret, written 6 months before she died. "My dearest Maya," it began. "If you are reading this, your Aunt Karen is trying to take what isn't hers. I did not leave the land to her for a reason. I know she has been stealing from me." My jaw dropped. I know Karen has been siphoning money from my accounts. I know Brad has gambling debts. I kept the records. I never reported them because I didn't want my daughter in prison, but I kept the proof for you. Use the attached statements as leverage. Attached to the letter were photocopies of bank transfers. Karen had stolen nearly $200,000 from Margaret's accounts over the last 2 years. She was forging checks. I took this straight to David. He looked at the papers and smiled. "This," he said, "is the nuclear option. The deposition." A week later, we were in a conference room for the deposition. This is where lawyers question the opposing party under oath. Karen sat across from me. She looked smug. She thought she was going to crush me. Her lawyer spent 2 hours grilling me, trying to trip me up. I stayed calm. Then, it was David's turn. David looked at Karen. "Mrs. Karen, did you have access to your mother's bank accounts prior to her death?" "Yes," she said. "To help her pay bills." "And did you ever withdraw funds for personal use?" "Absolutely not," she said, looking offended. "How dare you?" David slid a piece of paper across the table. "This is a transfer for $15,000 to the Bellagio Casino in Las Vegas, signed by you, from Margaret's account. We have records of 20 such transfers." The room went silent. You could hear a pin drop. Karen's face went pale. All the color drained from her skin. David leaned forward. "Margaret knew. She wrote a letter explaining everything. She didn't press charges because she loved you. But since you sued Maya, claiming undue influence, we are introducing this evidence. This is elder financial abuse, Karen. That carries a prison sentence." Karen's lawyer snatched the paper. He read it. He looked at Karen with disgust. He slammed his folder shut. "Recess," he barked. "Now." We could hear them screaming at each other in the hallway. 10 minutes later, they came back. Karen was crying, for real this time. Her lawyer said, "We are dropping the lawsuit. Immediately. We ask that you do not forward this evidence to the district attorney." I looked at them. I wanted revenge. But I also just wanted it to be over. "I want a full public apology," I said. "And I want Brad to pay for the security gate he damaged. And you will never contact me or my mother again." They signed the settlement an hour later. I thought I had won. But desperate people do dangerous things. 3 nights later, at 2 a.m., I woke up to the sound of breaking glass in my apartment. I live on the ground floor. I grabbed my phone and ran into the bathroom, locking the door. I called 911. "Someone is in my house," I whispered. I heard heavy boots in the living room. I heard screaming. "Maya. Give me the deed. You ruined my life." It was Brad. He was drunk, and he was holding a baseball bat. He started kicking the bathroom door. Bam. Bam. I was curled up in the bathtub, praying the police would get there. They did. I heard the sirens. I heard the officers burst in. "Police. Get on the ground." I heard a taser deploy. The kicking stopped. When I came out, Brad was handcuffed on my rug, sobbing like a child. "The loan sharks are going to kill me," he was blubbering. The truth came out. Brad had racked up nearly $500,000 in illegal gambling debts. That's why Karen was stealing from Grandma, to pay the interest on his debts so the sharks wouldn't hurt him. They needed the land not for the lithium, but for the quick cash to save Brad's life. Brad is now in jail, denied bail, facing charges for breaking and entering and assault. And Karen? Because the lawsuit made the bank records public during discovery, the state prosecutor picked up the case. Even though I didn't press charges, the state did. She is currently on trial for elder abuse and grand larceny. She is looking at 5 to 10 years. So, where am I now? I didn't sell the land. I refused to let it be strip mined. Instead, I leased the subsurface mining rights to a sustainable tech company. They use a new method that doesn't destroy the surface forest. I got a signing bonus of $8 million, plus royalties for the next 20 years. I kept the brambles. I'm using the money to restore Grandma's garden and build a massive greenhouse. I paid off my mom's house. She retired yesterday. And I did one last thing. My cousin Tiffany, the younger sister, she was the only one who didn't attack me. She actually warned me about Brad. I set up a trust fund for her. She's going to nursing school, fully paid for. My family tried to bury me. They thought I was trash. But Grandma always said, the best fertilizer is rot. Their greed was the rot. And I bloomed from it. Thank you for watching the full story. If you think Karen deserves jail time, hit the like button. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.